Cats have puzzled humans for millennia. One moment they're cute and cuddly, the next they're ferocious beasts. We can't forget that cats were once wild animals, and they still are. If kittens are born into the wild, they'll be as ferocious as a cougar or tiger. If we start feeding them, we may or may not become their best furriend. There are also plenty of scary cat stories surrounding these furry beasts. We can't use stories under copyright, but some of the stories ahead may seem familiar to you because they are true stories. These tales are passed along for many other cat lovers to enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to Furry Feline Facts, a purrrfect catalog of cat stats. Today we're talking about some unbelievable stories in 10 scariest true cat stories. If you're not already a follower of Furry Feline Facts, meow is the time to click the subscribe and notification bell. If you are, give yourself a round of applause. Okay, enough kidding around. It's meow or never. Number 1. Call 911 emergency. Nothing is scarier than the thought of losing a child. Many people plan to have children for years in advance. Then go through the 9 months of pregnancy, eagerly planning and awaiting their new family member. You may have heard variations of this story. There you are, finally having a well-deserved sleep after caring for baby all day. Suddenly, the cat jumps on the bed, stomps over your legs, and howls in your ear. You finally try to lock the cat outside the room, but he won't obey. He bangs and scratches at the door. Finally, you relent. You go out into the hallway to see what he wants. But instead of racing for the kitchen, he races for the baby's room. And in there, the baby is in distress. Fortunately, you call 911 just in time. The paramedics are able to save your child. Now you can wonder at how smart cats really are. Number 2. Home alone. This next story is a bit similar to the one above. You live alone with your cat. You've spent a few hours cooking yourself a delicious meal. Of course, you cut up some treats for your kitty to enjoy. Then you sit down to eat your meal. The cat interrupts you, so you give him a few more bits of steak. Maybe you even let your cat sit on one of the chairs at the table while he eats from his own plate. So there you are, cutting up a fat, juicy piece of meat. You put it in your mouth and chew, and then you reflexively swallow it. And you swallow again. The meat won't go down, and then you choke. You don't know what to do. You stand up. Right, you can give the Heimlich maneuver to yourself. But it doesn't work. You panic. What now? Oh, right, that knee and drop maneuver. You drop to the floor, landing hard on your chest. But the meat doesn't dislodge. The next thing you know, you wake up surrounded by paramedics. They say someone called 911 from the house, but you say it wasn't you. You suffocated too fast to do that. You look at your cat. Could they have done it? Or did they just jump on the phone and dial by accident? You may or may not have had camera footage to prove this. Some cat owners do. Number 3. Cat burglar. It's hard to not resist the neighbor's cat. They come by to visit at the same time each day. Soon, you're giving them treats and letting them come in for a visit. Now it's summertime and there's the cat outside your screen door. The two of you have fun during your visits. You consider putting a note on the cat, begging them to leave their cat indoors. After all, indoor cats live longer. But then you'd never see your friend again. One night it's super hot out, so you leave the door open, screen door securely shut to let the air in. Now you're almost dozing off. Then you hear crash. You leap out of bed and run into the living room. There, the door is open. You flip out. Someone has tried to break in. You're going to call the police, but then you realize that they're long gone. What's the point? But you can't sleep the rest of the night. You're shaky all week. Then, one day, you watch as the neighbor's cat leaps at the screen door handle and pops the screen door open. You laugh. That's who the cat burglar is. Number 4. Lost kitty. Nothing can cause anxiety or stress and pain as much as a cat gone missing. Even if your cat does it on a regular basis, it can have you descending into depression. After all, they're our family. A greater portion of our cat family is indoors only today, and for good reason. There are a lot of bad things that can happen out there. So now your cat has slipped outside. You don't worry at first. After all, it's happened before, and it will happen again. But the cat doesn't come back that night. You start imagining the worst. Some human grabbed him. A coyote ate him. The neighbor shot him. He was hit by a car. Or the worst, he didn't want to live with you anymore and has found a new home. But then, the next day, your cat shows up at the door. You hug and kiss him and tell him to never leave you again. Number 5. The cat came back. This is actually a cartoon, but it's happened in real life probably more than once. If cats have owned you for most of your life, then you know the heartbreak of losing them in many different ways. One day, your cat goes missing. You are confident that they shall return, but they don't. Your neighbor tells you that they have seen a dead tuxedo cat by the side of the road. You go there to collect the cat remains. It's definitely your cat. You bury your cat in the backyard and have a small memorial service. Years pass and you get a call from a vet. They have your cat. You're puzzled because your cat, the one you adopted after your last cat died, is sitting right there on your lap. But you go to investigate anyway. You go to the clinic and sitting right there is your cat, the one you thought got hit by a car. You bring him home happy, but who is the cat who is buried in your backyard then? Or are they still there? Do you dare even look now? Number 6. Zombie cat. We all know the Stephen King story. The cat is buried but comes back. Except it's never the same again. It's a zombie cat. Well, this story happened in Florida a few years ago. Bart, the cat, was run over by a car. The owner buried the cat in his backyard, but the cat came back to life. The cat managed to not only claw his way out of the box, but to dig through layers of soil to get out. Then his owner found him and took the cat to the vet for treatment. The cat had serious injuries, but recovered from most of them. We'd like to note that the animal rescue claimed ownership of the cat, deeming the original owner unfit. Bart was eventually adopted by a loving family. Number 7. Toxic cat. Generally, only a handful of domestic cats have killed humans over the centuries. But not in the way you think. They don't jump on people and eat you like a zombie. Their biggest danger is in the parasites and bacteria they carry in their bodies. Most pet owners develop an immunity to their pets over time, but indoor cats can harbor more dangerous types of bacteria. And we're not talking about rabies either, which most cats have had the vaccination shot for. We've all heard of an animal rescue worker who has saved a feral cat, only to get a terrible puncture wound on their hand. But sometimes washing with water and soap and applying antibiotic ointment isn't enough. Sometimes the wound will become infected. If you don't get to the hospital fast enough, you can lose your hand. Number 8. Crazy cat lady. There's always one in the neighborhood. That crazy cat lady who isn't married and has no children, but she has cats. She seems a bit odd, but she's okay. Sometimes she wants to chat with you. Sometimes she's rude to you. And one thing you can never figure out, what does she do for a living? You're always admiring her garden. There are always new flowers growing. Sometimes she leaves the drapes open. There is always a new painting or a new piece of furniture in there. And this is exactly why way back in the past, single women were declared witches. If they had a black cat, which is one of the most common types of cats around, they would be declared a witch. Which is kind of silly, as they would have been able to prevent their deaths, right? Anyway, back to your neighbor. One day, one of her cats goes missing. She tells you he's gone forever. Later, her next-door neighbor gets mangled by his lawnmower. You leave her some flowers in hopes that you'll remain good neighbors with each other. Number 9. Yowling cat. This always happens on a work night. There's a yowling cat outside. Perhaps it's mating season, or perhaps the cat is lonely. You go outside and call to it. You leave some cat food down, but you never see the cat. Several nights later, you're worried the cat is injured. You set up a cat trap so you can capture the cat and take them to the vet. But it doesn't work. There's no more yowling until there's a full moon once again. You finally decide to confide in neighbors, and one tells you that the cat is a ghost cat who died in a house fire. They hear it some nights too. It's crying for their humans who are also dead. Number 10. The Great Vacuum. We always think up cat stories that are scary to us, but what about cats? It took me years to figure out why I had to replace my vacuum cleaner every couple of years. Every time I'd bring out my vacuum, my cat would run and hide. I'm not sure what they thought would happen. They wouldn't fit in there, would they? But twice a week, the big beast would come out to terrorize them. It wasn't so bad when turned off, but when that loud-pitched whir began, it meant it was time to become invisible. When the last vacuum cleaner died, I decided to inspect it. The cord was chewed, the plastic tubing had puncture marks in it, and the innards stank of cat pee. When I wasn't looking, my cat was doing their best to kill it. 10 years later, and even the smaller and newer vacuum cleaner is still haunting my cat. But now I'm smart and keep it locked up. I hope you enjoyed listening to some of the scariest cat stories around today. Please don't get too freaked out by these cat stories. They are quite rare indeed. Please seek medical attention for you or your cat if you have any concerns, or better yet, a psychiatrist. If you're owned by a cat, perhaps you have a few of your own stories to tell. Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Furry Feline Facts, a perfect catalog of cat stats. And hit that notification bell to be sure you don't miss any cat-tastic cat stories. See you next time.